Hey guys, hope the assignment went well for you guys yesterday. We're going to continue talking about cells and more specifically the parts. Man, it's crazy that even though cells are microscopic, it's amazing how awesome our God is that He can have all these different parts inside of a cell, and every last part in the cell has a very specific job. Just like all your different body parts have a specific job. Well, same thing within your millions and millions of cells that make up your body. I'm actually going to go a little bit backwards today in the fact that I'm going to show you your assignment first. If you can look in your paper packet or you can take a peek here on your flash drive, you might have seen this already. Here's the directions for your assignment. I have all the kinds of, 5 different cell parts that are named here. And your assignment is to write down one thing you learned about the cell parts. Please don't just put one-word answers. Actually write a sentence about what you learned about each part. And the reason I'm showing you this first is because there's a lot of different parts and cells we're getting introduced to and learning more and more about each day. But these different parts of a cell, like the nucleus and the cytoplasm and the cell membrane, those can be difficult. Those could be new. And so I'm going to try to take it slow. Today might be a little bit of a longer video. But I would suggest maybe having this paper out and you can kind of almost take notes or get your assignment done as we go along. Because if you try to just remember everything we go through today, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be hard to remember what each part is and what each part does. So, hey, quick review here, huh? Cells. They're the building blocks of life, right? We need to eat food, we need to drink water, we need air because we're alive. Well, each one of our cells is alive too, so our cells need those things too. And our cells make up ourselves, our body parts. Remember yesterday we talked about compared and contrasted animal and plant cells. Well, today, as promised, we're really going to focus on this section here. Over here we'll talk about tomorrow. But we're going to talk about comparing them. So everything in here is, most of the stuff, we're not going to talk about the endoplasmic reticulum, but most of the other stuff we are going to talk about here. So let's talk let's talk about all these different things that plant animal cells have in common, or how we can compare them, how they're the same. One thing how they are the same is they each have a nucleus. How they're different is the chloroplast and no chloroplast in the cell membrane. This might be exactly what you put in your assignment here yesterday. But let's focus first on this, the cell membrane here. Both the plant cell and animal cell have a cell membrane. Now here's what a cell membrane is. It's not a castle. It's not a castle. But I kind of equate it or think it's similar to a castle walls because it's what surrounds the cell. It's kind of the outer wall, so to speak. I maybe shouldn't use wall because we'll talk about differences later, how a plant has a cell wall and an animal cell does not. But it kind of holds everything in, much like a castle does, right? It also, like here, we have the drawbridge. That's how people get in and out. It's the only way in and out. Well, a cell membrane kind of has things like that too. Remember how I talked about cells are alive because we're alive. And since we're alive, we need food, water, and air. Well, each and every cell needs those too. And through your circulatory system or your bloodstream, your cells can get food, water, and air. So it lets the good stuff in, and it lets the wastes out, which you release when you go to the bathroom. Now, here's an unfortunate thing about our cell membrane. Just like we have castles that get attacked by dragons, and of course fiction stories, make-believe stories, fairy tales and such, nobody's going to drop the drawbridge so the dragon can come right in, but still bad stuff can get in the castle, right? Well, there's sometimes that we have bad things attack a cell because of sin in the world. Viruses are one of the most common things. If you have a sore throat, that's because there's viruses in your throat that literally attack your throat cells and it makes it hurt, it makes it scratchy. That's when we get sick. Bad things get in our cells, and viruses have one job: to destroy your cells. Now let's talk about the nucleus. The nucleus is something both animal and plant cells have in common. And a nucleus is not an ear, but inside the nucleus is a lot of information. Remember last week we talked about, well, how do we know an ear cell is going to turn into an ear and a heart cell is going to turn into a heart? Well, that's what's in the nucleus. There's something called the DNA that tells it that, hey, you're an ear cell, so we got to work together to create an ear. You're a heart cell. Let me explain it this way. You might have seen something like this on TV shows or movies and things like that. Those are chromosomes, which make up your DNA. I know these are a lot of big scientific words thrown at you here, but I'm going to try to break it down a little simpler. Inside the nucleus and inside the chromosomes are like a sheet of instructions. If you ever get a Lego box, you open up the instructions. If you want to have the Legos look like the pirate ship on the box, you have to follow the directions bit by bit. Well, the chromosomes inside your cell nucleus tell the cell how to do its job and controls how the body grows and changes. So if you're wondering why your classmate might have a growth spurt and they grow a couple inches while you don't until next year, well, that's inside your cell nucleus, inside your chromosomes. So it's what's called your DNA, which tells your body when to really grow and when to do this and do that. And also, again, helps have ear cells be ears and heart cells be hearts. Also inside your nucleus is something that's called genes. Maybe you've heard this and somebody say, hey, you have your mommy's hair, or hey, you have your daddy's eyes. Those are the genes inside of our cell nucleus, and that's the blueprint to make up your body. It's what tells your skin cells to be a certain color. It's what tells your hair to be a certain, curly or straight or whatever it may be. But that's why you get your genes from your mommies and daddies, which is why you might have parts of your body that look like them, like your mommy's hair or your daddy's eyes. Those are inside your genes, inside your cell nucleus. Now, let's talk about the next thing. It's called the mitochondria. Kind of a fun word to say, mitochondria. What your mitochondria do is they're the power producers. If you ever get a spurt of energy, that's from your mitochondria. Now remember, you got millions of these things, and if you want good energy, you got to eat good food. If you're thinking, I'll do really good in the basketball game, if you slam a Mountain Dew and Cheetos, it's not going to give you good energy. It'll give you a good sugar rush real quickly, but by the middle of the first quarter, you're going to be dragging. You need good food, good things in your body so that your mitochondria in your cells can produce good, long-lasting energy. Talk about cytoplasm now. Now, please don't think that cytoplasm is Jell-O, but I like to compare it to Jell-O because it kind of holds everything together in the cell. Just like you have a bowl of Jell-O, and of course you can see here the different layers that look delicious and the different toppings, whatever that is. The Jell-O kind of holds it all together, so it's not going to spill out. That's what your cytoplasm is really the only job, is to hold everything in the cell, all those different parts. Last thing to talk about is a vacuole. Now, please again, don't think that your vacuole is a stomach, but it acts like a stomach in your body, in the fact that this is what takes in the food, and this is what breaks down the material, and again, this is what also releases the waste that your body gets rid of when you go potty. That's what your vacuoles do in both your animal, human cell, and a plant cell. I hope explained it well enough. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the difference of the cell. Again, I know a cell, that's a lot of big words, a lot of different things. I encourage you, go back and look through all the different slides here so you can answer your assignment and get down all the different things. I'm sorry to go fast as I go backwards, but all the answers are on these slides, and I'll just write them on the sheet there when you have to tell me one thing you learned from each section. Thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a great day.